Hello and welcome to Tech with NK. In today's video, we're going to solve the exercise Felipe'S Taqueria. I hope I pronounced that right. This is from CS50's Introduction to Programming with Python, Problem Set Theory. In this exercise, we're expected to create a Python file, we'll call it taqueria.py, and implement a program that enables a user to place an order, prompting them for items one per line until the user inputs Ctrl-D to stop the program. And after each input, we are expected to display the total cost of all items that have been inputted thus far, prefixed with a $sign, and formatted to 2 decimal places. We are to treat the user's input case insensitively and ignore any input that isn't an item, while assuming that every item on the menu will be title cased. If you're wondering what title case is, if we look at the example of the menu that has been given to us, that's this dictionary. If we look at this tortilla salad, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but if we look at this, we see that each word starts with an uppercase. That's we have uppercase T, uppercase S. That's title cased. And looking at the demo that has been given to us, we see that if the user enters something like burrito, we're supposed to return $7.50, that's $7.50. If the user enters large quesadilla, we're supposed to ignore that and prompt the user to enter something again. And when he enters super quesadilla, we return $17, because if you look at the menu that has been given to us, we see that super quesadilla is in the menu but large is not, and we're supposed to sum 9.5 or 950 with the burrito 750, which should give us this $17. A couple of hints have been given to us here which are actually very useful. We've been told that if we want to know when the user wants to exit the code, that's by entering Ctrl-D, the error that we need to catch is an EOF error, that is end of file error. And the other error that we're expected to catch from this code is the key error. That's if the user is trying to enter something that's not in the menu, reflected in the keys of this dictionary that have been given to us: burrito, bowl, nachos, and so forth. We have to start by creating a directory, we call it taqueria, change the directory to move into that directory, and then create a Python file called taqueria.py. I'm going to open VS Code in my computer to show you how to do this. I'll start by copying these. And also encourage you to stay tuned to the end of this video, because I'm going to do a line-by-line explanation of everything that I've done to help you better understand the project. That might make the video a little bit long. However, I'm going to leave timestamps in the description of this video to enable you skip and go to any point of the video of your choice. In VS Code, I'll just start by pasting this, and our directory has been created for us. I'll change directories to taqueria, and I'm going to create a Python file, call it taqueria.py, using the code keyword, and my file has been created. I'll just close this terminal, start by saving this, and then we're going to write our code together. One thing we need to do is to create a dictionary containing the menu that has been provided for us in the exercise. So I'm going to grab that rapidly from grab that from our website. Copy this, or write a comment here, or say initializing the menu dictionary. Okay, or create a dictionary or call it menu. Then I'm going to paste what I copied from the browser, and this looks just fine. And what do we do next? We realize that from the exercise, we're expected to keep track of the total amount that the user has to pay at the end of his selection. So after he has made a number of choices, we need to return the total amount that the user has spent thus so far, and doing this line by line. So I'll create a variable to save this amount, and I'm going to initialize that variable to 0, because in the beginning the user has not spent anything. And since we're doing this repeatedly, we're going to use a while loop, and I'll say while true, because I want to choose when to break out of this using a break statement. And also we're going to use a try block, so a try except block, to try to do this, and if it does not work, we use the except keyword to catch any errors and perform the appropriate actions. Or create a variable here, I'm going to call it item, or use the input keyword to get input from the user while passing a string to it, or say enter your item here. Then I'm going to format this user's input. I'm going to use the string method title. This method is going to return the user's input in title case, which I explained earlier. Then I'm going to strip the user's input to make sure that if there's any leading or trailing white space, we're going to remove that. And with the user's input in the right format, we're going to modify our variable total. We're going to say total plus equal to menu, then we check item. And what is this going to do? Say the user enters burrito, we're going to use the user's input as a key to this dictionary menu, and then we're going to get the value from that key, which is 750, and we're going to add it to our variable total to keep track of the total amount spent thus far by the user. And we're going to print this total using an F string. I'm going to say total. I'm going to add a dollar sign here. Then I'm going to pass a variable to this, say total, and format this output to 2 decimal places. So this should work just fine if the user enters something which is correct. But what if our user enters something which is wrong? We're supposed to catch these kind of errors and then carry out appropriate actions. So let's say the user enters something which is not in the menu. That is going to result in a key error, and so we're going to catch that right now. We'll say except key error. What do we want to do? We're going to use the keyword continue. And what is this keyword continue going to do? It's going to make our code to go back to the top of this loop and prompt the user once more to enter an item, ignoring any other thing that is found after this line 22. If you want to understand better the way this keyword works, I'm going to leave a link in the description below of the exercise 4.py which I created and explained the use of this keyword a little bit better. Now that we've caught any mistake from the user entering a keyword that is not appropriate or something that is not in the menu, we also need to catch the end of file error. That's for when the user has finished passing his command. So to do this, we're going to say except end of file error. We're going to print a new line, \n, and we're going to break out of this loop. And I think this is a good enough implementation of this code. I'll start by saving this file, or open my terminal once more, and we're going to try to execute this together. So we're going to run python taqueria.py item. Let's say we want a burrito. So this is what we expected, $7.5 or $7.50. Then let's say we want to add a nachos to it. We are going to add 7.5 to 11, which is 18.5, and that's correct. And let's say we add a taco to it to just end there. We have 21.5, which is 18.5 plus 3, and that's correct. And to exit this, we're supposed to press Ctrl D and the code is going to stop. Right now, I'm running on a Windows operating system, and instead of entering Ctrl D, I'm going to enter Ctrl Z. That's because Ctrl D is going to work on Unix-like operating systems, that's Linux and I guess maybe Mac. But since I'm testing this on my Windows operating system, I'm going to instead do Ctrl Z and I have to press enter, and this is going to end my code. But if you're running on a Linux operating system or Mac, try Ctrl D and it should work just fine. And with this, we'll confirm that our code is just okay. But before we separate, I'm going to show you how this code works line by line using a sample example from the user. And I'm going to use a Jupyter notebook to show you this a little bit better. If you do not have Jupyter notebooks integrated in your VS Code, I'm going to leave a link in the description below of a video I made to show you how to do this. I think at this point everything is okay. We just created a dictionary and we started our variable, or we initialized our variable total. Then we started our loop while true. We're using the try except block as expected from us in the exercise. And then to get the user's input and format it the right way, we use the input function and 2 methods, title and strip. I'm going to copy this and then run it in a Jupyter notebook to show you what it will look like, probably with a sample input from the user. In this notebook, I'm going to paste this. I'm going to move up here and select my kernel. I'm going to take Python 3.10. If you have many versions of Python in your computer, you just select the one that's appropriate for you. Then I'm going to remove this. And let's say the user entered something like burrito. If I run this, that's pressing Shift Enter, we'll see that the code is going to return what? Burrito with an uppercase B. That's because of the title method, which is converting everything that the user enters in uppercase or in title case. That's uppercase for every first letter of every word. Let's say we entered something like super burrito rather. Super burrito. I don't even know if this is one of the available menus, but let's just try with it and see the way it works. So super burrito, shift enter, and we have it uppercase S, uppercase B, super burrito. The work of the strip method here is to remove any leading or trailing white spaces. What are leading or trailing white spaces? Let's say here the user probably entered a space, and here also the user probably entered a space. What is this going to do? We'll do this. We see it returns super burrito with no leading or trailing white spaces. So that's the use of this line of code. And now that we're back in our code, in the next line, we're incrementing the value of the total based on the user's input. So what are we doing? We're getting the user's input in this variable item, and we're using it as a key to the dictionary menu, because the user's input should actually match one of these keys. And so if the user's input probably is a taco, it should match this key here and then return 3.0. And after returning 3.0, what do? We're simply doing total equals to total plus 3.0. Okay, so this is what we're basically doing in this line of code. If the user enters, let's say, what, tortilla salad, then we're doing total plus 8.0 instead, and so on and so forth until the user wants to end the program. And while the user is passing his command, we're expected to output the total line by line. So after each line of command, we're supposed to output the total thus far. This is why we're printing the total in this line and not at the end of our code. We're using this except block to catch any key errors. Key errors occur when the user enters an input which is not in this menu. Let's say we copy this again, and let me take it to this Jupyter notebook to show you what that will look like. So if I paste this here, then I say something like menu, then I select, you see our VS Code is already proposing to us the likely keywords. But let me enter something like rice. If I run this, we have a key error. As we see here, the error is quite long, but this is a key error because rice is not among the keys, and this is the kind of error that we are catching here, a key error. And if we catch that error, what do? We continue. So we just go back to the top of our program and prompt the user once more. And when the user wants to end the code, he's supposed to enter Ctrl-D on Windows Ctrl-Z. And that's the use of this except end of file error here, because it's going to catch that, print a new line, and break out of the code. I believe this explanation is good enough, and if you enjoyed this or if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by hitting the like and subscribe button so you won't miss any upcoming content. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be more than pleased to answer you or help you throughout this course. I look forward to seeing you in my upcoming videos. That said, have a good day.